Hi everyone, it's Kevin, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna print Wonder Woman. I'm on my mini factory. This model is from Michael Rambert. I think the movie should be released online. I'm not sure about it, but the timing should be pretty close. I chose this one because the model is separate in a lot of parts and I should be able to scale quite big in G2 box and fit in the photon. So I'm gonna see what I can do, how tall I can go, and try to have some fun on something a bit taller. Let's go. Okay, so here there is some part that I supported already. I just want to show you, so I've tried to fit the maximum height I could in G2 box. So I took a lot of my parts. Here, as you can see, I'm barely able to print the whole thing. I made sure every part was fitting in the photon, and then I choose my scale. I think I'm at 85% from the original scale. And when everything was good, make sure when you angle the model everything fit as well. You do your support and then you can start printing. So I still have the shield and the head and the part of the base as well. So there was a lot of printing to go for like 12 hours plus sometimes. Here I'm showing you a bit of the support, a lot of it. Okay, so everything is printed, there is a lot to unpack, so let's see what I got. First, there is a lot of cleanup to do. The models, I need to clean up all the support marked and everything. And I'm gonna try to assemble some of them before I paint. Not everything, but I'm gonna have to fill some gap between the seam. So that's a lot of post-process to do. I'm not really looking forward for that, but that's okay. Here I messed up, forgot to put a support on one part of the belt, so I reprinted this part only. I'm gonna try to fit it and try to fix the belt. One more problem, the model is not really like full. So what I mean here, if you can see on the feet, there is some small part coming off, same at the bottom. They are not like, they are more like there is the boot, for example, and over the boot there is some kind of texture. And the texture, they are just super thin, they are like one layer height or something, and they are falling apart. So maybe it was possible to repair the model, but I didn't try and I didn't know first, because when you see from the outside everything looking fine, and when I saw those kind of weird things falling apart, I went back on the model and I saw those kind of textures just surrounding the boots and everything, so it didn't print really well. I'm gonna try to fix it with resin and see what happened. There was a base available in the pack as well, but it was super huge and thick, so I didn't choose to print it. Instead, I've done some quarter of a circle for the base. I try to save on resin and not print something huge. So I'm gonna assemble all of it, make a circle, then just probably fill the inside with cardboard and try to sculpt some kind of terrain. And that's gonna be my base for the girl. And yeah, so a lot of post-process, and then I'm gonna start painting. Let's go. Okay, let's start with the skin, the base coat. I'm using the Vallejo brownstone, I think bronze flesh or something. So it's gonna be my darker color. I'm just gonna go brighter and brighter after. So I'm gonna have to do maybe like 2 coats just to make sure the cover is nice. I'm doing the black hair as well. I put some blue in the black just to make it a bit more interesting. I just want to make sure I'm not gonna like mess up. I want to make sure I can go under the hair and not mess up after. So here I start the dry brushing with some brighter color that I have. I'm going slowly, I'm mixing the base coat as well. I'm not really sure what I'm doing with dry brushing. Here, as you can see, everything is a bit more marked. So I'm trying to understand more of how to dry brush. The face is a bit more interesting. There is like more feature to catch the edge. Same on the top part of the bust here. But the result is fine. That's what I'm going for, like a subtle result. I don't want everything to be super bright. Here, as you can see, the skin is done already. It took me a long time, of course, it's not as quick as the video, but since the hair were painted already, I went back and cleaned up some of the skin dry brush who were a bit all over the place, but I cleaned up my hair. I had my base coat already. I'm going brighter and brighter with a light, it's not a light dark, it's like a bluish black, I guess. I'm going brighter, doing some highlights, try to get some interesting parts. I'm doing some of the base coat for the gold. Here I have the GW gold, I don't remember the name. I like the color, but the cover is pretty poor. So I decided to apply a quick base coat, and then I took the Vallejo gold. This one is a bit darker and a bit more brownish, but the cover is way better, so I went back with this one. I recover all my gold. I wanted to have a nice base coat of the gold for now, a bit the same way I've done with the hair before going on the cloth here. So the top part is red, same for the boots. I choose the arm, like the model on the arms, they don't have some metal things, they are more like some cloth. So the arms I choose the red as well, and I'm starting to dry brush. I try to brighten my color with some oranges, like I've put some white of course to brighten the red, but a bit of orange is pretty nice as well, because if you just add white to red, you're just gonna get pink and it's gonna look weird. So you want the color to stay a bit vibrant, and here it's pretty nice. I start on my base coat on the blue now, so it's all around the skirt. This one is pretty dark, but as you can see on the white I had to put a couple of base coat just to make sure the cover was nice. I'm gonna dry brush all over around. I went a bit more aggressive here with the first like highlights. I had 2 highlights, but instead of going slowly and slowly, I thought, okay, I think I can go a bit more like brighter right off the bat. Here I'm doing some small detail. So I'm using after the brush just to glaze some highlights. Here I couldn't dry brush near the skin because I didn't want to mess up my skin tone. So I've dry brushed to the limit and then I finished with the brush. And I'm coming back one more time on the red because I thought, okay, the red is a bit too dark. There is not enough contrast. So I just went back with some brighter color. I decided to apply some wash on the gold. It's kind of a sepia wash, and my idea was to darken some of the recess and stuff. It didn't go so well, like obviously you have some wash mark, it's a bit dirty sometimes, and it's not as dark in the recess. So later on I took back the Game Workshop's gold, and it was a bit brighter, this one, so I took it back, this one, and I tried to clean up some of the wash that I had. It gives some highlight and clean up the mess a bit. So it's not a disaster because there's still some like interesting like variant in the gold, but a bit tricky to paint a huge gold part like this. So here on the face I'm adding some of the color to the lips, adding the white on the eyes. I started with gray first just to get some cover, a better cover. So the eyes are pretty big, there is more room to play with, but I didn't go crazy and try to be like super realistic. I just enjoy having some bigger eyes. There is some eyelashes as well, so don't forget to paint it. Same for the eyebrows later. So I just added my color, then I've cleaned up some of the part around. I'm doing the iris with a bright blue, and I'm gonna add a touch of black in the inside and some white for the reflection. Pretty easy and pretty simple. I'm adding a tiny bit of red in the corner. It's really subtle, but this can make the difference. Here on the base, so after I've assembled my base, I had some foam, some papier-mâché, a lot of PVA around as well, and some gravel. I've tried to sculpt some kind of rocks to stand on, so that's what I got. And here I'm adding a bunch of paint and washes, and then I'm gonna dry brush over, add some grass and stuff. So a really pretty like simple base, but it's just gonna add a bit to the model. And then I'm just gonna glue it on top. And that's it for Wonder Woman. So this one is the tallest model that I've done, and I feel like the bigger you go, the harder it gets sometimes. You have more surface to paint, you have new technique to try on. Dry brushing was fine, but I think when you go quite tall you want to have an airbrush. I think you're really gonna save time, get a better cover, and try maybe some like nice fade and everything. So it was a bit of a pain sometimes. There was a lot of cleanup to do, going around, even just moving the model. It's quite hard to move around with your hand. Sometimes I was looking at the back, I was really careful, but some part of the paint were chipping off, I'm not sure why. So it's always like a lot of things to learn, but that's great. Even if you move from one day you're painting a mini, one day you're painting a huge scales models, you're gonna learn something. So next time I will have more experience for it. Tell me what do you think in the comment. If you want more, you subscribe, and see you next week. Bye.